Hello, I'm Leonard Nimoy. During the next hour, I'll guide you on a very personalized tour of Star Trek. I'll tell you how it all began and where it might be going. I'll share my favorite episodes with you and explain how Spock evolved into a character quite different from what we first envisioned. Most important, I'll try to put to rest some of the misconceptions about Star Trek, and who knows, in the process, I might even create some new ones. The first time I heard about Star Trek was in 1964. Gene Roddenberry was producing a television series called The Lieutenant. It starred Gary Lockwood as a Marine Corps officer, and I was hired to do a guest starring role. I was playing a flamboyant Hollywood actor who wanted to do a movie about the Marine Corps. When the job was finished, Gene called my agent called me, and they asked for a meeting. I went in to see Gene at what was then Desilu Studios, and he told me that he was preparing a pilot for a science fiction series to be called Star Trek. And he had in mind for me to play an alien character. As the talk continued, Gene showed me around the studio. He showed me the sets that were being developed and the wardrobe that was being designed, the prop department and so forth. I began to realize that he was selling me on the idea of being in this series. Unusual for an actor. I figured all I had to do was keep my mouth shut. I might end up with a good job here. He told me that he had one specific aspect of the character in mind at that point, and that was that this character should have pointed ears. Now, there's an interesting reason for that. Gene wanted to establish that we were in the 23rd century and that interplanetary travel was an accomplished fact. So this ship that we were on was not the United States ship Enterprise, it was the United Spaceship Enterprise, put out there into space by a federation of planets, and the crew would be interplanetary in nature. Here we'd have a character who reminded us of that constantly. Well, there was a lot to be developed in the character beyond the pointed ears, of course, and as time evolved, we experimented with various kinds of makeup and haircut and posturing and so forth, and as you will see, some fairly definitive changes took place over a period of time. The first pilot of Star Trek was filmed at Desilu Studios in Hollywood in 1965. It was the most expensive television pilot ever produced up to that time. It starred Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Christopher Pike. Well, as you can see, the cool, rational Spock was yet to evolve. That first pilot had some great production values, and it had some wonderful ideas. But NBC decided that it was too cerebral and it wouldn't sell. A year later, they thought they'd try again, and they ordered up a second pilot. This time they wanted less talk and a lot more action. Now what happened was that Jeffrey Hunter was not available for the second pilot. As a matter of fact, Spock was the only character to remain intact from the first pilot cast. All of the other roles were either recast or changed entirely. And that's when William Shatner came aboard as the new captain of the ship, and we've been friends ever since then. Bill Shatner's broader acting style created a new chemistry between the captain and Spock, and now it was quite different from that in the first pilot. Once the series was launched on NBC, both the network and Desilu Studios wanted to make some use of the very expensive original pilot. Gene Roddenberry solved this problem in a very imaginative way. He created a story in which Jeffrey Hunter's character, Captain Pike, was crippled and scarred by radiation burns. Now he could be played by another actor. In a two-part story called The Menagerie, Spock hijacks the Enterprise as an act of mercy and transports his former captain to Talos 4, a planet where mind projections have replaced physical activity. Spock is court-martialed for mutiny. Now he uses the tapes or scenes from the original pilot for his defense. For me, in its new form, The Menagerie is Star Trek at its best.
It worked! Let's go!
Whatever I do, I give it my all. Even laundry. Dirt, ice cream, wheel grease. Greasy, oily dirt's the worst. So again, I give it my all. Concentrate it all. Used regularly, All Out cleans this other leading brand on greasy, oily dirt. So it gets my whole wash cleaner.
Go, Kurt. You amaze me.
Amazed myself.
Concentrate It All gets out the worst dirt better so your whole wash is cleaner.
Give it your all.
For that curly look, come to Superior Beauty and Barber Supply for the do-it-yourself cold wave treatment. Curly Kit by Proline. It's a mild, effective, and easy-to-use cold wave treatment with one strength formula. Superior Beauty and Barber Supply carries a complete line of Proline products, including the mild formula Kitty Kit for children and the perm repair that gives your hair new radiance and sparkle. You'll also find fashion jewelry and exotic fragrances at Superior Beauty and Barber Supply on West 7 Mile, Grand River at Joy Road, and the new location at the corner of Woodward and East Grand Boulevard.
This is a special message for people who are single, widowed, or divorced. For over 17 years, Interactions has been assisting people that have a need and desire to meet with other people of the opposite sex with similar interests and lifestyles. Interactions was designed especially to help you with social contacts you wouldn't ordinarily have. Call Interactions today and let us help you get together with other special people. Interactions, 569-6222.
Anything goes at the 4077. Tune into MASH.
Sometimes I really miss being held by a man, you know.
Are you sure you don't love me just for my body?
Just give me 5 minutes to tidy things up a little. Frank!
A careless colonel causes trouble at camp Monday night at 7.
Star Trek was in production as a television series for only 3 seasons, 1966, 67, and 68. A total of 78 one-hour episodes were filmed. And yet, because of the immense popularity of the series in reruns, many people thought there were a lot more. In fact, some people think we're still making them. What's your favorite episode? It's a question that comes up all the time. Well, I do have some favorites, a number of them. Some because they brought new dimensions to Spock, and others because they're wonderfully written stories. I've always been moved by that story. It was written by Harlan Ellison, a master of science fiction, and he deservedly won a Hugo Award for his original story. The Devil in the Dark is a morality tale, something we did very well on Star Trek. The story takes place on a planet that contains a valuable mineral, and some of the miners underground searching for this mineral have been attacked by some unknown menace. The Enterprise is called in to help. Kirk and Spock discover that the menace is actually a rock-like creature which lives in tunnels under the planet's surface. And in this scene, Spock attempts to make telepathic contact. And that was the first time I ever played a scene with a rock. Spock discovers that the creature is actually a mother which has been trying to protect her eggs. The miners have been destroying the eggs inadvertently. Now the creature and the miners make peace. The eggs are protected, and the creature in turn helps the miners to find the minerals they're looking for. What we end up with is a wonderful state of mutual cooperation instead of mutual destruction. Next, we'll explore the lore of the Vulcan, including the Vulcan mind meld, the neck pinch, and the Vulcan hand salute.
Darn, my sink trap's clogged.
Do you know what's clogging it?
Who knows what's down there? Grease, food, hair.
Better use Crystal Drano, the all-purpose drain opener.
Isn't liquid plumber's all-purpose?
No, it may not work on tough grease clogs.
Will Drano?
Yes, Drano works on grease and food and hair.
Wow! I never know what the clog is, so I'll use all-purpose Drano.
Drano, the all-purpose drain opener.
Hi, Betty. I've got a problem. I think the transmission in my car is broken. I need a transmission place I can trust, someplace that will do a good job and stand behind the work and charge me an honest price. Where should I go? Royal Transmission? And they'll even tow my car for free? Thanks, Betty.
Mom, my friend said to take the car to Royal Transmission.
And my friend just said the same thing.
Oh.
Royal Transmission at 775-0600.
If you're looking for a candidate for governor who stands out, take a look at Congressman Jim Blanchard. He's the only candidate in either party who's delivered on a tough economic issue, Chrysler Jobs. The only candidate with experience in both Washington and Lansing. The only candidate who's helped get labor and management to cooperate. 3 big differences that make all the difference. Jim Blanchard, the Democrat who delivers.
They say that necessity is the mother of invention, and she certainly was when it came to developing the powers of Mr. Spock. People often ask me, how was the Vulcan death grip developed? Well, the fact is, there really isn't any Vulcan death grip. You see, it was a ploy that we used when we wanted some enemy of ours to believe that Dr. McCoy was dead and that Spock had killed him. What I did was simply place my hand over McCoy's face like that. He fell to the ground and acted as if he were dead. Later, of course, all he had to do was stand up and come back to life at the proper moment. But what we did develop was a little number called the Vulcan neck pinch. Now, this started the first time it was used in an episode called The Enemy Within. This was our version of the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story. What happened was there was a malfunction in the transporter, and when Captain Kirk was being beamed aboard the ship, the transporter split him into 2 personalities. So we had 2 Kirks on board now, one evil and one good. There was a scene written where there was a confrontation between the 2. And the evil Kirk was holding a phaser on the good Kirk and was going to kill him. Now, the writer had intended that Spock would sneak up behind the evil Kirk and hit him over the head with the butt of his phaser. And I was a little offended by that. I thought, this is the 23rd century, and playing a Vulcan, we should have some more sophisticated way of rendering a person unconscious. And I said that to the director. He said, what do you have in mind? And I said, well, Mr. Spock has gone to the Vulcan Institute of Technology, and he's studied the human anatomy very carefully. Also, Vulcans have the ability to project a certain kind of special energy from their fingertips, which, if it's properly applied to certain pressure points on the human neck and shoulder, the human will be rendered unconscious. He said, let's try it. I discussed it with Bill Shatner, and he knew exactly what I had in mind. And when I came up behind Bill, and I put my hand on his neck and shoulder, he really sold it. It was his reaction that makes you believe that it really works. So in this scene, watch Bill. That's how it all began. In the scripts, the writers began referring to it as the FSNP, the famous Spock neck pinch. And it served 2 valuable purposes. It added to the magic and the mystery of Mr. Spock, and it also made it possible for Leonard Nimoy to avoid a lot of running and jumping and fighting. Now, how about the famous Vulcan mind meld? How did that come into being? As we've already seen in the episode with the rock creature, Mr. Spock has the unique ability to mate his mind with that of a creature or another person in order to implant or extract important information. How did it start? We were doing an episode in which we had on board the ship a man who was mentally disturbed, but he had information that we vitally needed. The scene, as it was originally written, was a rather long and boring scene where we stood around talking about the problem and finally getting the information. Boring. What to do? Well, it was decided that Mr. Spock would be able to mate his mind with that of this man, penetrate the disturbance, and get the information directly. Dangerous thing to do in this case because, of course, Mr. Spock's mind might become disturbed as well in the process. The scene is from an episode called Dagger of the Mind. This is the first time it was done. Pay particular attention to Spock's hands. Spock's hands became increasingly important as the character developed. In fact, in an episode called The Enterprise Incident, there was a love scene between Spock and a female Romulan, and the entire physical contact was simply a stroking of each other's fingertips. Now, what about this? The famous Vulcan hand salute. How did that start? We were doing an episode called Amok Time. Spock had to get back to his home planet of Vulcan because, as a child, he'd been betrothed in marriage, and now it was time to fulfill that commitment. We arrived on the planet, the 3 key figures, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and Dr. McCoy, and we were greeted by a procession coming out from the city. When the procession arrived, we discovered that Vulcan is a matriarchy. The head of the planet is being brought out, carried in a sedan chair by some bearers. The character was named T'Pau, played by Celia Lofsky, wonderful actress. And she was to be seated, and I was to approach her, and we were to say some nice things to each other. And I thought, here's a special opportunity to create something special in the way of a Vulcan greeting, some kind of a signal that they have between each other. And I said to the director, humans shake hands when they meet, and military people salute each other. He asked me what I had in mind. I was raised in an Orthodox Jewish family, and during the high holidays, I'd go to temple with my parents. I'd sit with my father and my brother, and at a particular point during the service, the Kohanim, who are the priests of the Hebrew tribes, would bless the congregation with a blessing that's familiar to all of us from the Old and New Testament. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and so forth. When that time comes during this ritual, the congregation turns their back and does not look at these men. I'm not sure of the reason for that, but in any case, children are taught not to look at the Kohanim while they're performing this blessing. My father would say, don't look, turn away. And of course, being a curious 8 or 9-year-old child, I peeked. What I saw was this. These gentlemen were holding their hands in this position while they were giving this benediction to the congregation. I've never been able to find out for sure exactly why they do that, but I think it probably has to do with the fact that this is the shape of the letter Shin in the Hebrew alphabet. The Shin is the first letter in the word Shaddai, which means the Almighty. And these gentlemen are probably using a symbol of the Almighty's name in blessing the congregation. I was fascinated. I thought, I've got to learn how to do that. And I worked long and hard to accomplish it. So now I suggested to the director that perhaps Vulcans do that when they greet. He was intrigued, liked the idea, and he went to Celia Lofsky, the actress in the scene, explained to her what we would do. She would be carried in, sat down, she would raise her hand in salute, I would respond. The problem was that Celia couldn't do it. Something like that is what we got. So we worked at it pretty hard. We figured out a way through a kind of a simple camera trick to get it done. The camera moved in fairly close on her, and below the camera frame, just as I'm doing now, she got her right hand into the proper position. And when the time came, she was ready. She got that hand up there, and the Vulcan hand salute was born. When you see this piece of footage now, watch carefully and you'll notice that her hands are below the frame line, and then the hand pops up. Watch this. Just a few days after that episode aired, I was in Cleveland doing a personal appearance. And we were in a car stopped at a traffic light when a car pulled up beside us and a young lady looked over and recognized me. She did that. I was delighted to see it coming back at me so fast. I rolled down the window and I said to her, "Can you do it with your left hand?" And she tried and she got about that far and she said, "I speak it with an accent."
You know, you kids passed up 3 other burger places to come here?
We know.
Nowhere else but Burger Chef. What have they got here you can't get there?
A super chef.
Yeah. Nowhere else.
Our Super Chef sandwich, our thicker, juicy patty, cheese, tomato, the works. You won't find another burger quite this good anywhere. Could be your new favorite, too.
How'd you ever get them all here?
They always follow me.
Nowhere else but Burger Chef. Nowhere else but Burger Chef.
Everyone enjoys a hobby. If your hobby is building models, then you should stop by Everybody's Hobby Store, Joe's Hobby Centers. Joe's Hobby Centers carries a complete line of Star Trek and Star Wars models, plus many other model kits, including the Space Shuttle Columbia. Models for the beginners and those who seek the ultimate in hobby action and excitement. Joe's Hobby Centers offer radio control equipment, along with friendly expert advice. Whatever your hobby, you'll find it all under one roof at Everybody's Hobby Store, Joe's Hobby Centers, in Dearborn, East Detroit, and Farmington.
Summer, summer, summer at SeaWorld. Shows and excitement, so much is new. This is the summer for SeaWorld. Come back and see all the things you can do. This is the summer for SeaWorld. Daytime to nighttime, we're giving you more. This is a summer like never before. This is the summer for SeaWorld.
I'm going
going to fix that crack in the basement in only 4 minutes.
You mean I'm going to fix that crack in the basement?
Nope, it's so simple I can do it myself with 4-minute concrete repair.
4-minute concrete repair? What's that?
It's new, and this little kit can patch brick or concrete and a lot of other things that need fixing around here, dear. And it's so easy to use.
Like my driveway?
My basement.
My garage?
My patio.
Well, where can I get that stuff?
Just listen, dear, and the nice man will tell you.
4-minute concrete repairs available at all ACO, K&K, and Damon hardware stores.
I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, is it difficult to play a character without emotions? Well, it's a misconception. Spock is not a character without emotions. Spock is a Vulcan who has learned to control his emotions. And in his particular case, even more difficult because of the fact that he's half human, and he has that side to control as well. And believe me, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week of controlling your emotions can have some strange effects on you. I remember one time in a meeting room having a conference with a couple of writers and suddenly finding myself crying for no reason at all. The emotion just had to come out somewhere, sometime. So I welcomed opportunities to do scenes or episodes where Spock had some kind of emotional release. We had one in an episode called The Naked Time. It was a story where a virus had come on board the ship, and this virus was passed from crew member to crew member, each of us being affected in a similar way, in that our suppression of our fantasies or emotions was destroyed, and all this stuff that was inside of us came pouring out. Here's a scene where the two sides of Spock are in conflict with each other, his logical side and his emotional side. I like to think that that episode led our audience to understand that inside Mr. Spock's cool exterior, there was something sensitive and vulnerable. It might be a coincidence, but within a few days after that episode went on the air, my fan mail jumped from dozens of pieces per week to thousands. Dorothy Fontana was one of our regular, recurring writers on Star Trek. She wrote some wonderful stories for us, and she approached me one day and suggested that we do a love story for Mr. Spock, and I thought, that's going to be a mistake. And I pointed out to her that if we went too far with these stories where Mr. Spock expressed emotion, we could never again deny the fact that he had them. We couldn't play that he was cool and in control. She said that she had an idea that she hoped would work, and I said, fine, give it a try. Well, she not only gave it a try, she really pulled it off. She wrote a very lovely story called This Side of Paradise. And the lady in the story is a character named Layla, played by Jill Ireland. Fascinating. Next, we'll explore the demise of the Star Trek series, the making of the 2 Star Trek motion pictures, and the alleged death of Mr. Spock.
Finish and Save invites you to come and save this weekend. Finish and Save Furniture will be open till 9 Friday, Saturday till 6, and Sunday 11 to 4. Save on unfinished furniture in pine, maple, oak, aspen, and cherry. And along with low prices, you'll save even more. An additional $5 discount on every $50 spent on any items not already on sale. Come to Finish and Save Furniture on Gratiot, just south of 11 Mile, and Plymouth Road, just west of Farmington Road. Master charge and Visa accepted.
If you haven't seen this new Chevy Camaro at your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, you don't know what you're missing. The design and development of this Camaro makes it one of the most advanced automobiles on the road today. There's a great selection of new Camaros available right now, including the Sport Coupe, the Berlinetta, and this Z28. I'm Chris Schenkel for your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You really ought to see this car.
When you get a craving for pizza and nothing else will do, then Pizza Hut is a place for you. Nothing but pan pizza will do for you when you just gotta have that homemade taste. All your favorite toppings, can't wait. When you just gotta have that there's nothing like pan pizza at your hometown Pizza Hut restaurant. Your hometown Pizza Hut, home of pan pizza.
Star Trek was my first full-time series as an actor, and it was hard work. It was 5 days a week, 60 hours a week, 12 hours a day. But it was very rewarding. There was a tremendous sense of family, a connection with the cast and the crew. We all enjoyed each other, enjoyed working together. And when it was over, there was a sense of loss. We were canceled after 3 seasons, and the show went into syndication. We were never a tremendous success on network, but now in syndication, the show started to build an enormous new audience. And about 3 or 4 years after we'd been canceled by the network, pressure started to build for more new Star Trek. Television shows, movies, whatever. Around 1978, about 10 years after we'd finished making the original series, Paramount reassembled the cast, and we made Star Trek: The Motion Picture. It was a very finely crafted film, and it did well. But from the actors' point of view, frankly, it was frustrating. We didn't feel that we were getting to play the characters that we enjoyed playing in the way that we knew how to play them. There was an enormous emphasis on special effects in that film. The film did well, and when it was over, I thought, well, that's the end of that. Now, Paramount then decided they'd like to try again, and they brought in a new producer, a man named Harv Bennett, to see if he could bring back together the original elements that gave us the fun, the excitement of the chemistry between the cast and keeping the special effects in their proper perspective. Harv Bennett did 2 very bright things. The first thing he did was to screen for himself all 78 episodes of Star Trek. And when he found Space Seed, the episode with Ricardo Montalban, he decided that this was a wonderful platform for a sequel. Terrific idea, and it involved a terrific actor. Here's Ricardo Montalban as Khan, first as we saw him in 1967, and then coming after us for revenge in 1982. Now, the second bright move that Harv Bennett made was to tantalize me with an intriguing question. He said to me, how would you like to have a beautiful death scene? How many actors do you suppose can turn down an offer like that? I couldn't. So I signed on. And contrary to whatever rumors you may have heard, only one version was filmed. And in that version, Spock does indeed die. Or does he? We decided to ask that question of theatergoers who had just seen Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Here are some of their reactions.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was great.
What happens at the end?
Well, Spock leaves us for a while anyway.
What do you mean for a while?
I don't think he's dead. No, I don't.
Do you think he's dead?
No, I don't think so.
Why? He's in a casket, isn't he?
Yeah, but I don't think he's dead.
Look, you got to help me out. I got to figure out what to do about my future here. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. People come out and say, I think Spock's dead. I think maybe he's not dead. What should I do?
Oh, I don't know. I thought when he landed on the planet with the Genius, I thought, you know, that Genesis, I thought, well, he was going to be reborn like the planet.
Well, were you upset when Spock died?
Oh, was I? Yes.
What about the rest of the audience?
Yeah.
They cry. They cry.
He's going to come back.
Are you sure of that? You really think I better get my costume and my makeup ready and come back, huh?
Yes, I do believe.
Yes. What happens at the end?
What happens in the end? You die.
He's gonna come back to life. I wish you'd come out from that star or something and go on that planet.
Yeah? And be alive?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You don't have pointy ears.
No, I don't have pointed ears. Come here.
Well, I just have a feeling he's on reserve.
Just resting a little bit.
Yes, recharging.
Aha, so you think he's coming back?
Oh, I hope so.
I think we will survive again.
Spock dies, of course, but I think being that the planet was reborn again, that Spock may just be reborn again and...
Reborn again?
Yes.
You mean like reincarnation?
No, not reincarnation, but I think he will rise again, so to speak.
What will he look like when he comes back?
Probably younger.
Younger? Really? Oh, that sounds good to me. Is Spock dead?
I don't think so.
He'll probably come back on the 4th film.
On the 4th film?
Yeah, not the 3rd.
He'll skip one?
Yeah.
Okay, he'll take a rest.
Sometime around Star Trek 9 or 10, he'll be back evil, and he will mutate back to the normal Spock. He'll be fine. Spock dies, and that was the worst part.
And that's the end of it?
Right.
So Spock is gone forever. How do you feel about that?
Well, he should come back to life, I think so.
What do you guys think happens at the end of this movie? Tell me.
I think that you recombine with the life matrix, and you either become part of the planet or you reconstruct.
Well, that sounds very complicated. What should I do? Should I get my ears ready? Do I come back and get my clothes ready, or is it all over for me?
Become part of the planet.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you become part of the planet, and you're the intelligent life, and you, all right, the planet has to evolve life, and it evolves fast, but you help it, you increase the evolution.
What do you think?
Well, I think that you're going to just come back in. They're probably going to start a religion on the planet based on you or something.
Is Spock dead?
No.
Spock is not dead. Okay, live long and prosper. Let me have it. Okay. Thanks. Nice to see you guys. Okay, see you later. Yeah, does Spock live?
Wait, there's a clue why he lives.
Fantastic.
No, there's a clue to why he lives.
There is what?
There's a clue to why Spock lived, because bless your green blood, Vulcans aren't human. They're not affected by radiation.
Oh.
Huh?
Explain that to me.
Well, I'm not sure yet. I have to study more about the Vulcans.
Okay, okay.
Sure
I got you. I think you're right. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I hope you enjoyed the movie. Okay, see y'all. Oh, what is this with the pitch? Just a minute. I'm going to put the pitch in. Okay, thanks a lot. Nice to meet all of you. See you later. See you later.
Well, I'm certainly glad we cleared that up.
For 3 days only, Art Van is selling hundreds of items at cost or below during Art Van's massive $10 million stock reduction sale. At no other time, at no other store, will you be able to buy name brand furniture for less. When the doors open Saturday at 10, every item in Michigan's largest furniture inventory will be marked down for this extraordinary savings event. If you've been waiting to buy furniture, don't. Save now at Art Van's 3-day $10 million stock reduction sale.
Question: which Republican running for governor can beat the Democrat in November? Answer: Jim Brickley. Polls show Brickley is the only Republican who can win the general election. Question: which Republican is best prepared to be governor? Answer: Jim Brickley. A former FBI agent, U.S. attorney, university president, and lieutenant governor, Brickley is ready to be governor.
At Red Lobster, we're prepared to make your dinner something special. And that means paying attention to every little detail. Come on in for something special. Prepared just for you.
'Cause we're seafood lovers too. Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
Oh, not again.
When the pain starts here, the pain stops here. With the buffered extra strength relief you'll find in extra strength Bufferin. 1,000 milligrams of strong aspirin, the strongest dosage you can buy, combined with special protection against aspirin stomach upset. Anacin and Bayer don't give protection. Regular Tylenol's not as strong and can't give aspirin doctors prefer, but extra strength Bufferin does. The pain stops here with extra strength Bufferin in tablets and capsules.
Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, combines some of the best elements of the television series with some very current filmmaking techniques. I'm proud to be part of it. As I said earlier, the genesis for The Wrath of Khan is the Star Trek episode entitled Space Seed. After a station break, we'll screen this episode.
But protect your mouth with Gleam, the adult strength defense that fights the enemies of your mouth.
If you wash this dirty shirt, one.
Yes.
You really do want to know?
Yes.
Okay. It's right here. That is your shirt.
I'm gonna try it at home. I'm gonna buy some Oxidol. It really works.
Try Oxidol with bleaching crystals for a white that compares to new.
They used to call me a health nut. Now I'm the neighborhood expert because I read the list of ingredients before I buy any food. Even those fancy tech, you'll want to take this report with you every time you go shopping.
So call toll-free 1-800-228-1500 and get 12 monthly issues of Prevention for just $10.97 and the free report. If you're not happy with the first issue, sure you can cancel. Pay nothing, but keep the issue and the report. The call's free, too. Call now. 1-800-228-1500.
This is WKBD-TV50, Detroit.
On Monday night's 8 o'clock movie, two brothers belong to the syndicate. Kirk Douglas believes in the old ways. Alex Cord believes in the new.
I'm warning you, Frank. You go with the new operations or you're out.
I'm telling you now, I'm not going to let you do this, Penny.
And I'm telling you, I am.
The hell you are.
And you got nothing to say about it. It's the board's decision and mine.
The Brotherhood. Monday night's 8 o'clock movie on TV50. Now, more movie, fewer interruptions.
Can your antiperspirant adjust to the unexpected?
Who? What? When?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I've got to be where? In how many minutes?
Well, that's what makes Ultraman Solid so remarkable. Its extra-strength formula self-adjusts to whatever your day is like. Look, during a normal day, Ultraman Solid works at this level. But when things get heated up, Ultraman Solid self-adjusts to give you extra-strength wetness protection. Self-adjusting Ultraman Solid and Roll-On. They self-adjust to whatever your day is like.
If you're tired of trying to train, come to the Powerhouse Gym and really train with the best. Powerhouse Gym is one of the world's best gym and training centers, featuring pro bodybuilding, boxing, and conditioning programs for men, everything from muscle and strength building, weight reducing, physical fitness programs, athletic training, and much more. No binding contract, no financial companies, and low membership rates. That's the Powerhouse Gym on Woodward, south of 6 Mile, next door to Warrior Martial Arts. Open 10 to 10 Monday through Friday, 10 to 8 Saturday. We make champions.
What? You guys aren't eating at your usual place?
This is our usual place.
Now.
Nowhere else but Burger Chef.
Since when?
Since the mushroom burger.
Nowhere else.
Our mushroom burger, our thicker, juicy patty, Swiss cheese, and sautéed mushrooms. No other burger is made like this or tastes like this. Could be your new favorite, too.
What'll the rest of the gang say? The gang's all here.
Nowhere else but Burger Chef. Nowhere else but Burger Chef.
The 50% off sale is here.
Everyone can enjoy the excitement of sled car racing at Tiny Tim Family Hobby Center. They have 2 huge, fully equipped tracks, and you can rent their equipment or bring your own. Tiny Tim also sells a wide variety of ready-to-run cars, self-assemble kits, and advice is gladly provided. Treat your family to many fun-filled hours at Tiny Tim Family Hobby Center in Royal Oak on Woodward, 2 blocks south of 14 Mile. Parties welcome at low special rates.
Really good today, guys. Better.
Problem. I think the transmission in my car is broken. I need a transmission place I can trust, someplace that will do a good job and stand behind the work and charge me an honest price. Where should I go? Royal Transmission? And they'll even tow my car for free? Thanks, Betty.
Mom, my friend said to take the car to Royal Transmission.
And my friend just said the same thing.
Oh.
Royal Transmission at 775-0600.
This is Bill Kennedy. In my movie Sunday at 1, Lee Marvin and a Japanese naval officer stalk each other on a deserted island until they realize they need each other to survive in hell in the Pacific. Then at 4, stay with TV50 for movie greats. Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman undertake a dangerous mission to Brazil to trap Nazi mastermind Claude Rains in Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious. That's Hell in the Pacific, followed by Notorious Sunday starting at 1 on TV50.
Live it. Live the real you with Miss Clairol. Only Miss Clairol gives you Miss Clairol color. Color that's the real you. If you dream it, live the real you with Miss Clairol.
If you're looking for a candidate for governor who stands out,
Free as the wind, me and my friends. Hey, what a day, having some fun, warm summer sun. Hey, what a great day, what a great day.
Then came the cheeseburger. Then the double cheeseburger. And now Burger King introduces the Bacon Double Cheeseburger. 2 flame-broiled burgers, tempting American cheese, topped with lean, sizzling, crispy bacon.
Aren't you hungry for Burger King now?
Aren't you hungry for the new Bacon Double Cheeseburger now?
Will there be more Star Trek movies? I would say probably, because The Wrath of Khan has done very, very well. Will Spock come back? If so, how? And if Spock does come back, will Leonard Nimoy portray him? Let's wait and see. As Spock would say, there are always possibilities. I thank you for listening to my stories and watching some of my favorite moments from Star Trek. Live long and prosper.